right, well, welcome everybody to Healthy at Home. My name is Paige Corley, and you may have been expecting my coworker Suzanne Lewis to give this presentation, but she was called out on another thing that she had to do, and so I got called in to do this. So I'm super excited. I'm presenting Suzanne's presentation. That's why I'm telling you this, is Suzanne made this presentation. It's very good. I am going to be reading her notes because I want to make sure I get the content in that she intended. But during the conversation, if you have questions or you have something that you want to add, please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put your hand up, or you can put a question in the chat. Well, I want this to be interactive. But we're going to be talking about how to eat healthy on a budget. I think we can all benefit from this. You might be surprised by a few of the things that we talk about. So, all right. So while eating healthy, nutritious meals on a budget does require a bit of planning and preparation, it does not have to break the bank. In fact, in some instances, such as when it comes to eating beans and other plant-based proteins instead of red meat, eating healthier may actually be better for your wallet than opting for a burger or steak. Additionally, the plethora of recipes as well as meal planning resources that exist on the internet can help even the most novice cook start a delicious, healthy, budget-friendly eating plan in no time. The USDA says that healthy eating is important at every age and can be done on a budget. Eat a variety of fruits, vegetable, grains, protein foods, and dairy or fortified soy alternatives. When deciding what to eat and drink, choose options that are full of nutrients and limited in added sugars, saturated fat, and sodium. So Suzanne's included a picture of the My Plate. I think we're all pretty familiar with that. Basically, you want a good variety of foods. For those of you who are lactose intolerant, dairy might not be something that you eat, so that might not exist on your plate. We definitely want to make sure that we're having, what's really nutrient rich is vegetables. And really, we're going to talk about different ways to eat vegetables, but if you go to the grocery store and buy fresh vegetables, I know it can be hard when you're cooking for one to get vegetables that aren't going to go bad. I realize that. But vegetables in general, even with inflation, they can be pricey, but for how many nutrients you're getting, they're really a great way to add nutrients without adding a ton of calories to your eating regimen. So vegetables are kind of the unsung hero, at least as far as I'm concerned. They're a really good addition to your plate. Also, I totally forgot to introduce myself. I said I'm Paige. I'm Paige Corley. I'm a health educator here at Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services, and I know many of you from these Healthy at Home webinars. I've missed them. They haven't been around as much this year. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, got that out of the way. Moving on. So meal planning not only makes it less likely that you'll resort to pricey takeout food, but research shows that it may help to cut down on food waste. Planning ahead allows you to think about your food needs, taste, and budget. If you know you have to stretch your money for the week, meal planning can really pay off. There are many different menu planning aids on the internet. Here's a free downloadable menu planner that comes with a shopping list. You can also get help meal planning with myplate.gov. You can use this to customize your meal plan to your health needs. And it's on the next slide that we have there it is, the menu planner. Let me see if I can get this into the chat. I'll work on it. If not, I'll get it in at the end of the class. One of the things that I do, because right now I'm really busy, I have school and I have work, and so every Sunday I make our salads for the week, because me and my husband both have salads with some sort of meat on them for lunch. And so while I'm watching a favorite program, or I'm listening to some music, or I'm listening to my stupid textbook being verbally, talked to me over the internet, I make these salads. And it's a great way for me to know that I'm not going to resort to running to a fast food place or eating something that might be less nutritious. And that's where meal planning and food prep comes in, is taking that time to do that, to kind of think about, what am I going to eat? How can I stay on a budget? How can I stay healthy? And taking the time when you have it to do those things. And if you're thinking, well, I really have a lot of time, if you're not motivated to prep your meals, take advantage of when you are. So on Sunday afternoons, I am. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm in mode. I'm going to make these meals. And it really helps. Another thing that I do is bagged salad. I buy bagged salad. I buy 2 a week so that I know that there's a couple of meals a week that I don't even have to think about the salad. I just open that bag and put everything together. I know it's relatively healthy, minimal processed, minimal sugar. So there's those little tips. And of course, if you have a tip like that and you want to throw it out there, please feel free to. So in a study with 2,300 shoppers, Jeffrey Inman at the University of Pittsburgh found that people who reported using a shopping list made fewer unplanned purchases during their shopping trips. Indeed, the old adage, never go shopping hungry, did not apply when shoppers brought shopping lists with them in the store. Dan Gilbert at Harvard University found that hungry shoppers with lists did not make any more unplanned purchases than any other shoppers, whereas hungry shoppers without a list did buy more than others. I know myself, I can say that when I go shopping and I'm hungry, yes, I'm going to put a bag of chips in my cart way more likely than when I'm not hungry. Does anybody else have that experience when they're shopping and they're hungry? Yeah, we're more likely to grab something off the shelf, or we're like, "Ooh, that looks yummy," even if it's not necessarily the best nutrients. We're not usually grabbing that apple, right, and eating it, although sometimes you can do that in the grocery stores now. You might have moved to online shopping during the pandemic. Do shopping lists still help to reduce purchases and money spent in online viral situations? Yes, they do. In 2 studies conducted in a lab at Carleton University, participants who wrote out shopping lists before completing an online grocery trip bought fewer items than participants who did not write a shopping list beforehand. So shopping lists help, whether you're in person or whether you're online, kind of knowing what you want to get. And I think the more we shop, the more we know where to go in our grocery stores. I know that we all know when we walk into the grocery store, you're bombarded with either chips or Peeps. Have you seen the Peeps? It's like a Peep pandemic out there. They're everywhere. They have different colors. It's loony, and you can't get in the grocery store without passing a few 100,000 Peeps. But if you know your grocery store, you might be able to circumvent them as much as possible. I think we've all heard about that perimeter shopping. When we go shopping, that's going to be, if you stay on the perimeter, you're going to hit more of the like the vegetables and fruits, dairy, eggs, that kind of thing, things that need refrigeration, the non-processed. And again, even though you might perceive them as being more expensive, they also tend to have more nutrients, right? So you're really getting more bang for your buck when you're looking at those types of foods. So taking that shopping list, knowing what you want, not going there hungry, all good ways to stay on your budget. All right, so the third tip is to buy frozen or canned. So buying frozen produce is one of the easiest money-saving options. It's an option that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice nutrition. Research shows that the overall vitamin content of frozen foods is often the same and sometimes even higher as that of their fresh produce counterparts. In some cases, nutrients like beta-carotene may decrease in frozen foods, but there is no disadvantage to purchasing frozen produce, especially when it's the more inexpensive option. This side note, I shared an office with a registered dietitian for about 4 years when I lived down in St. George, Utah, and she absolutely confirmed this, that buying frozen and canned, that you can get the same amount of nutrients. And for those people who are maybe cooking for one or two and don't want to waste, this is a wonderful way to get away from that waste and still get the good nutrients. I know not all vegetables are great frozen, but many of them are, and maybe canned is another option for you. So you can safely use cans with small dents. Don't use bulging, rusting, leaking, or deeply dented cans. Discard any cans with sharp dents in the seam. So you'll see at the grocery store they have those discounted kind of areas. As long as that can is not bulging and there's not air getting into it, most of the time it is safe. And grocery stores are very good at not trying to sell you the cans that are contaminated, right? Because they're going to get in trouble if they do that. So that's also an option for saving money. Another one is canned food often is less expensive than fresh food. Much of the prep work has been done for you. The vegetables and fruits are already chopped and ready for you to use in your recipes. Stock up on canned foods for your family will use when it's on sale and save additional dollars. So if you have the money to buy something less expensive, more of them now, ultimately you save money over time. Sometimes that's hard to do. You kind of have to have money to save money. Isn't that a weird thing that's out there, but it's true. But the canned food, I grew up on canned food. That's what my parents, especially my dad, it was almost always canned food. And I like, for the most part, I do enjoy canned vegetables. They have a flavor that I can get on board with. They're easy to add to like goulashes, or sometimes I'll just do beef with different kind of canned vegetables in it. And that's an easy way to do it. And nowadays you can buy canned foods with less sodium if canned food is the way that you want to go. The next one is to use coupons, right? So you want to, if you're shopping on a budget, even if you're not shopping on a budget, coupons are such a smart way to go. With over 1 billion coupons available each year, you will likely find a coupon that you can use. If you can't find a coupon for those blueberries on your list, but find one for strawberries, consider making the swap to save money. Even low value cents off coupons can really add up. Just by using 5 50-cent coupons off a week, you can end up saving over $100 each year. And coupons, they've really made it easier. And Suzanne has listed some different ways that you can use coupons. I mean, nowadays you can get online, and she has some, let's see, Coupon, Cabin, Capital One Shopping, and Slick Deals. These are all websites where you can find coupons for different items that you'll find in your store. They're not necessarily sponsored by your store, but they are manufacturer coupons. That's what I'm looking for. And I call them coupons because I'm from Texas. I don't know what coupon is. I was corrected a lot when I moved out of Texas, but if you hear me calling them coupons, that's why. So that's another way that you can do it. Manufacturer coupons work just fine, and you can always print them on your printer. Now, printer ink is really expensive, so you kind of have to weigh that out. If you're, printing a lot of coupons, but you're spending more on your printer ink, you might want to consider if that's the best way to go. And of course, there's flyers that are given out in your mail that I think are great. There's also ones where you can, your grocery store, if you have a smartphone, like I go to Smith's, and they actually have the coupons right on the smartphone. I open up an account, and I just open up that app, and I can download coupons of what I'm going to buy, so that when I scan them, that coupon is automatically applied. When I find that incredibly helpful. Now it does mean that before I go grocery shopping, I need to open up that app and look. But a lot of times now, grocery stores will store what you buy and will say, hey, Paige, here are some coupons for X, Y, and Z, knowing that I tend to buy X, Y, and Z. And so I can just download those. The thing about coupons that you want to be careful of is just because you're saving money on a product, make sure it's a product you really need. If it's $1 off a bag of Doritos, great, but do you really need that bag of Doritos? Is that really how you want to spend your money? So you need to be careful of that online coupon shopping. Use coupons that give you money off of food that you want to buy, nutrient-rich foods, or foods that bring you pleasure, that's fine. But if it's kind of off the beaten path, make sure that you're not just spending more money by buying things that you don't really need just because you have a coupon for them. I hope that makes sense. And again, if you have questions, comments, put them in the chat, raise your hand, unmute yourself. Let's talk about it. So there's more. Let's go back because I skipped this. So printable coupons can be found at the manufacturer's websites as well. And there's, she brings up that there's some sites, some other sites where you can get manufacturer coupons, like coupons.com, Lozo, never heard of that one, and the Crazy Coupon Lady, I have heard of that one. So there are a lot of resources online. But again, you got to make sure that there's a way that you can get that coupon to your store. And whether it's downloading it onto your phone or printing it out. If you, and like I said, if you are into a particular store, make sure that that store doesn't have an app that you can't utilize. Okay, so grocery, I already went over that. So grocery store coupons. And she talks about there's mobile apps that let you find grocery store coupons. And one of it looks like Ibotta. Oh, there you go, Ibotta, Ibotta, and that's probably Ibotta.com. Checkout 51 and Snip Snap. And these are probably apps that gather coupons from many different stores. And then once they're on your smartphone, usually they'll have a code that can be scanned, so you don't have to worry about printing. There, right, the online coupon codes. And that's something that you're going to find at all sorts of different coupons at different stores. So there are several ways to find coupon codes online, including search on Google, the brand or the store's website, social media, or coupon sites such as Retail Me Not and PayPal Honey. Those are other ones. So if you're into it, you're going to have an afternoon of looking at different coupons online. But don't forget about the mailers that come in your, in your mail. Those also work. Also, if you get in with your grocery store. So again, I go to Smith's, and we actually have a credit card with Smith's. I don't know if y'all remember during the pandemic or right before, they said they weren't taking Visa anymore. Does anybody remember that? And anyway, during that time, I switched to a Smith's credit card. And man, that thing has really paid off. But the thing I love about it is I get coupons sent to me every month that are specific for me. So based on my buying patterns, they'll send me, 50 cents off kale or save on a bundle of 3 peppers. And so every month I know that I'm going to get these coupons sent to me. And I find that to be really helpful. It keeps me on track with what I'm buying. It also shows what I've been buying. Make sure that I'm staying where I need to be. So another tip for budgeting is to buy store brands. Store brands are private label items are generally just as safe and nutritious as their brand name counterparts. These items which often include the exact same ingredients also typically cost less, so you can save even when you just swap out a handful of brand name products. And I do that quite a bit as well, right? You can get that off brand. The key thing is make sure you read those ingredients. Make sure you know what you're buying so you know what to look for in those private label foods. So wondering how stores can get away with a more budget-friendly price point? Grocery stores are able to make their own branded foods cheaper than the name brands for reasons such as no advertising costs, less research and development, and fewer transport complications. It makes sense, right? They don't have to advertise it, it's just right there. Learning which store brands your grocery stores carry can help you reduce your total at the cash register. Yeah, so just be sure to compare those ingredients. Make sure you know what's in it. And that's just good even if you're buying the brand names, right? Know what you're eating, know how much sugar they've added, know how much salt they've added. Remember, just because the label says reduced sodium, that might be reduced sodium from a whole bunch of sodium and it's still high sodium. That doesn't mean it's a sodium level that you necessarily want. All right, next, I love this one. Try growing a garden. I'd probably starve if my food source was a garden because I do not have a green thumb. But if you can, growing your own fruits and vegetables is a great way to save money and have fresh produce at your fingertips. Even if you don't have a yard to grow a garden, many fruits, vegetables, and herbs can be grown in pots on patios or balconies. Having a constant supply of fresh produce at home can save you money at the store. You may not be able to grow a money tree in your garden, but it'll feel like you did with the extra money you'll be able to save. And this is very true. Of course, we all know those people who are giving away their tomatoes or giving away their kale. What other things do people grow that give away? Sometimes peppers, a lot of squash, those kind of things. You really can save money by doing that. And like Suzanne says here, it doesn't have to be a garden in your yard. It can be in a pot on the balcony if you live in a condo or apartment or something like that. So for help with gardening, season-long volunteers called garden apprentices are matched with a senior participant's garden. Each week, garden participants visit the garden, caring for the garden, getting to know the older adults, and learning how to grow food from our experienced garden staff. The produce that is grown in each garden is shared between participating seniors and garden apprentices, as well as distributed at the free farm stands at senior centers across Salt Lake County. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. So if you want to grow a garden, but you're not sure how, as long as you're willing to share that the stuff that you produce, you can have somebody come and help you for free to make sure that you're getting the most out of your garden. That's very interesting. And you might get a little social out of it if you're looking for that. The Utah State University Extension offers growing gardening courses and tips for what to grow in our climate and when to start growing it. So that's another resource for you. And the Wasatch Community Gardens, the Utah Yard Share is when 2 or more people or parties share the resources in order to grow or share food. So you have community gardens around the town, right? Those parties could be friends, family, neighbors, or people who meet for the sole purpose of sharing gardening space. The resources could be physical, such as land, water, tools, and produce, and or less tangible. So basically, sorry, she's saying that you would share the resources, the land, the tools, those kind of things, and then of course the time that you spend, right? If you're kind of going in. Up the street from me is a person who, you know, that little strip of land that's kind of outside your property, but not quite to the sidewalk or not quite to the street. They've done a community garden there, and they posted a sign that said community garden and plant something or take something, which I think is a wonderful thing. They water it. But they kind of hope that other people will come and plant things and maybe tend to it a little bit more. But that's kind of a nice thing to think about starting, especially if you have a green thumb in your neighborhood. And that's a great way to save a little money. So resources. If you're looking for different ways to budget, right? The United Way 211, I don't know if that's a website, but that's one reference that can help you with food resources. There's the SNAP program. which I should know what that acronym stands for, but I don't. I'm just studying it in school. It's more than 4 million older adults use SNAP to buy food, and the average older adult receives $113 each month. So visit benefitscheckup.org to see if that program can help you. Now that is a economic, right? It's based on your income. But that's a program that people have earned. It's something that if you can take advantage of it, please do. If that helps you buy more nutritious food or keep you from being hungry, it is definitely something that I would encourage you to take advantage of. The Utah Food Bank provides free monthly food assistance to homebound people, excuse me, with disabilities and seniors living in poverty, delivered right to the client's home. Each food box contains approximately 1 week's worth of non-perishable foods, plus as much fresh food is available. So Salt Lake County is a resource for you. So if you're like, well, I didn't know these programs existed, get in contact with me, and I'll put my email in the chat, and I can get you in contact with the people who can help you figure out what food resources are ones that you can use. Now, a big one with Salt Lake County, of course, is Meals on Wheels. If you're homebound, or if you just like being at home and you don't like going out, Meals on Wheels is a resource for you. I've been having this conversation with some older adults in my life who they're not eating as much as they should, but they don't feel like they're ones who should be taking advantage of Meals on Wheels. And I'm like, Meals on Wheels is for everybody. That's a program that's paid for with taxes. You don't have to be a certain socioeconomic level. You don't need to be at a certain health. If you want a meal, if it helps you to have that meal delivered to your house, you've earned that right to have that meal delivered to your house. And I'm here to tell you, the Meals on Wheels food is pretty good. It's nutritionally balanced. So you know you're getting a good balance of proteins and carbohydrates and fats, and they're pretty tasty. So I would encourage you, if this is something that you're interested in, or that you can always try it, and if you don't like it, you can stop it. And if you think, well, I make too much money, well, donate your money to Meals on Wheels then. You can make a bigger donation than what they ask for. And there's
Hey,
also, oh, yep,
oh, sorry, Paige. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay.
I was going to say there's also, I'm echoing. Am
You're
I
on.
echoing?
You're,
Okay. The University of Utah, if you are a client there, they also have what's called the food pharmacy. And so you can look into that. And they give a voucher to get fresh fruits and vegetables. And I know a participant who does that, and she gets her vegetables and she freezes them what she doesn't use.
that's excellent. Thank you. Do you know the name of that? What'd you say the name was?
I will put it in the chat since I'm
Okay.
echoing.
Yeah, if you think of it. There really are good things. I mean, the eating is important, and eating nutritious food is important, and it's still important as we get older. There's no age where we get old enough to be like, oh, nutrition doesn't matter. It always matters. We always matter, and the nutrients that we take in always matter. So think of those different things that you might be able to do to get that food into your house. And I know for some of the people I know, it's just they don't feel like going out. Maybe it's because of COVID. Maybe because of COVID, you've gotten so used to being in your home, you don't want to go out of it anymore. Fine. There are ways to have that food delivered to you. You don't need to be in a particular need, except you need those nutrients. So again, if you want more information on some of these programs that we offer, shoot me an email, and I can get you in touch with our caregiver services. It's called Supported Aging now, and we have a lot of resources that we can send your way. And again, they're not all based on socioeconomic status. They're just based on you being of a certain age, really. All right, and then here's some references. Oh, thanks, Becky. Becky's put some information in the chat for you. These are just references that Suzanne included, as she should, since she took some ideas from different places on the internet. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Are there any, you know what, I'll ask and see if we can share this PowerPoint, because I know it had a lot of, if you are, obviously all of you are on the internet right now, so if you would like a copy of it, I'm trying to think, I know most of you, if you have an email, you can shoot me again. I'm going to put my email in the chat. Shoot me an email and say, hey, I want a copy of that presentation today. That's my email right there. And I will, if it's available, I'll get it to you. My email is pcorley@slco.org. pcorley@slco.org. Or you can just call me, and there's my phone number. If you want more information about anything that we've done. But I think the takeaway is eating healthy on a budget is not quite as hard as what you might think. It might be more time intensive than what you want. But sometimes I like to think of grocery shopping as a form of exercise. It's a form of socialization. So there's a lot of ways that you can look at it. I work from home, so I actually am somewhat socially isolated, which I kind of like. I'm kind of like that. But every once in a while, I really want to go to the grocery store because it's a chance to kind of be out and be with people. But for a limited time, I get to leave. Um, Food prep is important. I've really grown to enjoy my Sunday afternoons of food prep. I've never done it. It's only school that pushed me into it, but I find that my week I eat healthier. In fact, yesterday I was out, I was down in Draper, and you know all of those stores that are along 123rd, there's every fast food. And on the way home, it was 12:30, and on the way home, I'm like, ooh, I want to stop somewhere, and I'm gonna get Chick-fil-A, or I'm gonna get a Subway, or I'm gonna get a Jamba Juice. And I kept telling myself, Paige, you have that salad at home with chicken. Just go home and eat that. And I did, and it was so much better for me, and it tasted great. So no, if I didn't have that made, I would have stopped and gotten something at fast food, and I would have paid way more money than what it costs to make my salad at home. Um, so there are, I think, a lot of positives to the food prep. Are there any thoughts out there from you all? Any tips that you've done that you found helpful? Any questions that you might have? Lorraine? No, you're still muted. Sorry, Lorraine. There you go.
One thing that I found helpful in making the list is organizing the list by, like, say, the canned goods, or like, say, the fresh produce or the dairy. And that maybe doesn't save money, but it also saves time, and also keeps me from like going around the store like 3 times to find the one item that's further down the list. That's just something I like to do.
Which in turn saves you money.
Yeah, right. Another thing was hadn't realized that with that USDA thing about the canned food, that the canned vegetables, like, all the cans have the best by date on there. I didn't realize that, like, it was like the canned meat and vegetables were like, up to like 5 years. I mean, that's like, I'd never heard that before. I don't totally go by that date, but that seems really, a long time for the food to still be good, but I guess they've tested that, right?
Yeah, and I think we can, yes, I do believe that they have, Lorraine, and I also think that um that in the best case scenario, we're not eating 5-year-old canned foods. But it's nice to know that if we need to, we can. Or if you, I think more is if grocery shopping is something that is difficult for whatever reason, that you can stock up. And if you're eating it in a year or two, then that's fine. During the pandemic, during the COVID, would go to Costco, and I eat sardines, you know, like that go in that are in the boxes, and we bought a ton. Like we must have bought 50 boxes, 56 packs, right? And we had so many sardines. Oh my God, it was awful. But the thing was that they last a long time, and so it was okay to stock up on that. Plus, we ate those things. So I think that it is a good thing to know. But I don't know that we should strive to, and to buy 5 years out. The main thing is with the canned foods, you don't want the air to get to it, right? We know that. So any damage that happens, especially if it lets that air in, that's when we get the bacteria in there. But I love your idea about categorizing your shopping list. And the more you go to your store, the more you know. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take a left, I'm going to go down, I'm going to get my eggs, my dairy, and my yogurt. And then I'm going to turn the corner, I'm going to get my cottage cheese. And then I'm going to skip all the chips and all the cookies and all the boxed foods that I can. And I'm going to make my way down to maybe the processed meats, if that's something that you're eating, and then to the produce, right? So there's a way that you can get to know. And yeah, if you organize it, I think it's great. I also think personally going to the grocery store, I like to go with my husband. I love to be with my husband. He likes to meander in the grocery store because he doesn't go all the time. And that's when we also end up in areas that we probably shouldn't be in, like the Oreo aisle, because they're not good for you and they cost a lot of money, right? That's great. Thank you, Lorraine. Those are great additions.
Good.
Anybody else have anything that they want to throw to the group that we might benefit from? Well, I do appreciate everybody being here today. I'm sorry Suzanne wasn't able to present this information. She obviously made a very nice presentation. I hope I did it justice. Becky has been wonderful. She's put some really good information in the chat. If you would like to cut and paste or write things down, again, if you miss out on anything, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'm happy to get that information for you. It's not only something that I like to do, it's also part of my job. So it's not a bother. Please feel free to reach out for any information that you might have missed in the presentation. And then we have another announcement. Do we have something else coming up? Another Healthy at Home?
We have been doing our PSAs at the end of the month. They're just short little YouTube videos. I don't know if you've been catching them, but we're working on those. Our Healthy at Homes are once a month now. Next month is Maria Rodriguez from Valley Health, and she's doing cognitive memory boosts.
Oh, good.
That's correct.
Maria's
And then also,
awesome.
I love Maria.
She's really good, yeah.
Just so you can share this information with anyone you know, I know 211 was available in Texas also. I think it's United Way, and I think it's available anywhere. So if you have someone, that might be a resource, because I do know we had it in Texas too.
Excellent, great, thank you. And yeah, if you haven't seen our little new is it Healthy Minute?
Healthy Hints.
Our Healthy Hints, go to our YouTube channel. There's short little videos that give you just different information about different things. And it's just another way to utilize Healthy at Home. But otherwise, we will see you all sometime next month or in class at some point this week. Thank you so much for your attention and for being here today. Have a good rest of your week. Thanks, Becky.